Hello, everyone, and welcome. We are really excited about this session. My name is Eduardo Mansour, and I get the pleasure of leading the professional services team at Degreed. I can't believe it's almost been a year since I joined Degreed, and through that time, I've had the opportunity to, along with my team, to work with several of you. Prior to Degreed, I worked for a consultancy called BTS for over 10 years, where I led a practice area focusing on learning, design, and innovation. With me are two of my great colleagues, and they're going to introduce themselves.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chrissy Billingham. I'm the VP of Client Experience here at Degreed, and I look after all of our international clients. I've been at Degreed for just over 4 years now, but most of my career has been spent on your side of the table, walking in your shoes, working with all of the things that you're working with. I tell you that because I think it stands us in great stead to have some of these conversations that we're going to talk about later today and how we're going to talk about client partnerships. The lady on my right here will introduce herself.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Jenna Drapkin. I'm our Vice President of Client Experience for North America and Canada. I joined Degreed about 5 years ago already as a part of the acquisition of a learning experience platform you may remember called PathGather. I'm so excited to be here today and represent the amazing work that our client experience team does.
Awesome. As over the last day and a half, you have seen this framework on a couple of presentations. And we're really excited because we're focused, the three of us are focused, along with our teams, on the services component of the framework. And all with the intent to help all of you mobilize and realize the value of Degreed faster. So what does that look like? Some of the services that we provide are regarding implementation, consulting services in regards to skills activation or change engagement and adoption, learning experience design, and technical services. We also provide staff augmentation or flexible staffing to support you in any of those areas. As we continue to evolve and move forward together, we're going to optimize these services and also add additional ones, all with the intent of helping you mobilize and realize the value of Degreed. When we think about, today we're actually going to share with you some stories from clients that have very specific business outcomes that they've been driving, and some initiatives that they put in place in order to achieve those objectives. And I'm sure that all of you are focused on driving very specific business initiatives that are meant to have a huge impact on your organizations. When we start down that path or that journey of execution, oftentimes we aspire for that to be very Zen-like, just like you see in the picture. No problems, smooth sailing, no issues at all. But you're probably saying, hey, Ed, wake up. That is not reality. In fact, oftentimes when we're executing an initiative, we encounter challenges and obstacles that take us off balance. But we believe that there's a path forward. There's a way that we can actually achieve success while minimizing these challenges or mitigating some risks. What you see on the screen is just a success framework. We call them success drivers. And our experience tells us that if we're thoughtful about any initiative, any business initiative, on the onset, that will allow us to move faster and achieve results faster in the long run. These 4 elements that you see on the screen, strategy, number 1, which is all about defining your strategy and also creating a robust plan, is critical to success. Aligning all the stakeholders around an initiative along the journey and continuing to do that is also important. Another key element is mindset, identifying the mindsets that may be limiting and could result in delays, workarounds, or even stoppages that are unintended. And then finally, the last element that's critical to success is ability. And by that we mean the knowledge, the skills, the resources, which includes people, and tools necessary to execute the initiative. In just a minute, we're actually going to ask you what you think about these different elements. So we're going to get some engagement from all of you. But before we do that, we're going to go take a deeper dive into each one of these. Jenna's going to kick us off by talking about strategy and alignment.
Thank you, Eduardo. So if you think about the success drivers as a recipe, well then I like to think about the strategy and success measures to support as the main ingredients. One of my favorite meetings that we have with our customers is the kickoff meeting, as that's where we really get to dig into, for the first time, the 6-month, the 1 year, the 5-year, and beyond strategy that's going to be driving your transformation within your business. And in subsequent business reviews that we have with you, it is so much fun. Like truly, you can see the excitement on my face. We have so much fun as we work to optimize on that strategy, evolve that strategy in partnership with you, and then see how are we progressing towards those success measures and those goals that we've initially set out on. And then we know that alignment, the second item here, we know it is not easy for you to align within your business and with a vendor, but truly feel strongly that it's one that pays dividends for you as you're making decisions, as you're prioritizing, and as you're leading through change managing a transformation within your business.
Thanks, Jenna. So I'm going to talk about mindset. And I think mindset is probably the most difficult of the four. It's probably also the most underrated. So people kind of come here, they rush through it, they think, yeah, mindset, we'll come back to that. We've got implementation ITA, so we need to get to where we're going. So what I would say to you is, mindset's really hard. Sit there for a minute. Probably give yourself twice as long to think about mindset shift than you think you need. Think about the mindset that you have within your organization and the mindset that you're trying to achieve. Think about the journey that might be required to kind of go between those two things. Think about the audiences that you have within your organization and the impact that they could have on your mindset, direction of travel, culture. People like your leaders. Leaders are critical, they're crucial. They play a huge role in the mindset of your people, of your organization. But also think about those within your business that you could lean on as advocates or influencers. The final point I'll make here before I hand it back to my esteemed colleague, Eduardo, is around culture. So as you think about mindset, think about ways you can hack your culture. Now, people talk about culture. We hear them talk about culture all the time. The reality is a culture is just a series of historical events. And the only way to change a culture is to do something different tomorrow and to keep doing it. Culture's made up of habit. And so as you think about the mindset that you're trying to generate, really focus into those habit-forming culture hacks that might be part of your organization and a direction for you to kind of pursue.
I agree with you, Chrissy. Oftentimes we focus so much on the technical components that we forget about the human side of the equation. Right?
All the time.
And so it's really critical to keep that in mind and have a plan around that.
Yeah.
Another element that I'm really passionate about is ability. And what I mean by ability is, as I mentioned earlier, is really taking an assessment of all the tactical elements that are necessary in order to carry out an initiative. Right? Do I have the right individuals in the right positions in order to make critical decisions or do the work? Do they have the knowledge and skills necessary to take that on? Do they have resources or templates that they can leverage in order to pull off necessary activities? And so there's a number of different tactical components that you have to think about, that it's all around rolling up your sleeves and actually doing the work. But that assessment of understanding our ability to carry that on is critical for success.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, all of these could potentially represent a gap. And if we're not aware or we don't do that analysis, that's when it can lead to just some challenges, right, and roadblocks. So we're going to challenge you to really think about these as you're implementing any initiative. And from the services component, that's what we're geared to do for you. Also help be a partner to think through these critical elements. But now we want to hear from you. What are some of the success drivers, or what is the success driver that represents the biggest challenge when driving a business initiative at your organization? So what I'm going to ask you to do is pull out your mobile devices. And I can't believe a facilitator is actually asking you to pull out the device to get you to multitask. But no, please pull out your mobile devices, take a snapshot of the QR code, and answer the question. We'll give you just a minute to do that.
I'll tell everyone we've been so excited to see we've been placing bets which one is going to be the biggest challenge for you. So we're very excited about this. And yep.
All right.
I told you.
All right. We'll give it another minute.
Go on, alignment.
There is
You're
not
coming
one
through. It's
person
coming through.
that's put ability.
Well, that's
Not
great.
one.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, okay. But I said it.
You're all our strategy wizards, it looks like, too. All right. I mean, overwhelmingly, I don't know if we led the witness, but overwhelmingly,
I don't think so, no.
all of you said, the majority of you said mindset shift is a critical component that we're not addressing. But every situation or every initiative is different, don't you think?
Yeah, for sure.
In one instance, strategy might be the thing that I'm challenged with, right? In another instance, it might be mindset.
Yeah, I think the thing is with strategy and alignment, they feel more easily defined. And I think the thing with mindset shift is it's, changing human behavior or moving people in a different direction. And it feels more difficult, I think, for sure.
Absolutely.
But I would say that. I'm team mindset.
But in the end, I think what we're asking you to do is to think about all of these components and don't take it for granted.
Yeah.
At the start of any initiative, think about all of these elements and conduct that assessment.
Yeah.
Because in the long run, yes, it may take a little bit of time in the beginning, but in the long run, you're going to drive the initiative faster and get the results that you're looking for. With that being said, though, the best way to really bring these elements to life is through a story, a client story. So Jenna is actually going to share with us a story around Booz Allen Hamilton.
And I'm going to sit down because it's story time.
And we're
your
also
heels,
wearing
right?
high heels.
It's your
No one
heels.
mentioned the shoes. No one mentioned the shoes.
Okay. So for those of you that don't know, Booz Allen Hamilton is a global strategy and technical consulting firm. Last year, I'm so excited to share that they generated $20 billion in pipeline with $4 billion under active delivery for projects related to their emerging critical skills. But before they achieved such amazing outcomes, they had two really big challenges that they had to overcome. First, the war on technical talent was forcing them to rethink the way that they acquire, develop, and retain their employees. All the while that was happening, they were going through a workforce transformation. So the skills that they needed to continue to deliver a world-class experience to their clients were totally changing. Now, they knew they needed to get creative in how they cultivate their talent, or else their talent would go elsewhere, which was a cost that they were unable to afford. So they set out to reimagine their approach for how they engage and develop their employees. And now I've spoken with many of you throughout this week, and I know that this is a story that resonates with you. So what I want to do is I want to share how they overcame these challenges using the success driver approach that we spoke about earlier. So for strategy, once that was set and the critical skills were identified, they worked to align subject matter experts, SMEs, across the business, as they were highly motivated to help the learning and development team grow this critical emerging skill set within Booz Allen as well. They also worked to define 4 key metrics to help support in this initiative. First, skill level. 2, skill capacity. 3, employee sentiment around their development. And 4, like I mentioned earlier, opportunity value. And then, one thing they did was they measured the baseline of these 4 metrics before they launched the program so that they could report back to the business how it performed. So now for alignment, they focused on a top-down, bottoms-up approach and brought leadership along as they developed this program within the business to ensure that they understood that this was business critical, and they had to give their employees the space to focus on learning these new emerging skills. They also worked on a thoughtful marketing campaign. So these employees knew not only was this just awesome for helping to continue to deliver this amazing experience to their customers, but also it would help them in their career. And then this approach created all the conditions for a strong mindset that we had to get behind, Booz Allen had to get behind this program, as it was business critical and they needed to grow this skill capacity. Now, they had the ability to pull this off using degreed plans that took learners, it was customized degreed plans that took learners' preferred learning methods into account. And then there were also supplemental resources to ensure certification success of these skills. And then once launched, of course, they fulfilled their promise to learners to allow them the space to learn these new skills. And so how did this initiative perform overall? Well, their AWS capacity increased by 60%, with these emerging critical skills increasing anywhere within Booz Allen from 23% to 536%. Employee sentiment around their development also increased for learners that went through the program 3 to 5%. And as I mentioned earlier, there were 103 additional opportunities created related to these skills that generated $20 billion in pipeline with $4 billion in active delivery. So please join me, Li Ming, if you're out there. Please stand up. Hi. Please join me in recognizing Li Ming. She allowed me to share this incredible story with you all today. Thank you, Li Ming.
All right. Congratulations. I mean, what a story. Thank you, Jenna. So, as I mentioned earlier, my role encompasses international clients here at Degreed. And I'm going to talk about one of our biggest international clients. 3 years ago, AstraZeneca were not quite the household name that they are today. Fast forward through a global pandemic, vaccination production and rollout, and now most, if not all of us, know who AstraZeneca are. I think there's no question about that. And if I told you the work that they did drove results like classifying them as a high-performance learning organization, reducing their spend on learning by over 17%, driving mindset shift that pushed 1.2 million self-completed, self-motivated completions of learning within Degreed. That's a story you'd want to hear, right? I think you might be on mute. That's a story you want to hear, right? Thank you. Forgive me for my little cards here. But when you're telling somebody else's story, you want to make sure that you get it right on the money. So AstraZeneca have a bold ambition. They call it full-scale transformation as it relates to learning. They want to optimize investment, align learning experiences, and really transform from end to end. Learning is a real strategic focus at AstraZeneca as they define the skills that they require for the next chapter as they continue to push the boundaries of science. So we talked earlier about the 4 cogs and how we apply them within our organization. So I'm going to start with strategy. The plan to achieve the ambition at AstraZeneca had to be transformational, had to be brave, had to be leading edge, and really move them towards a fully integrated landscape of technologies. Their key goals were around developing skills for the next chapter, embedding lifelong learning as a habit and a mindset, building global learning communities, and developing an agile, enterprise-wide learning technology ecosystem. So not very much, not a lot to do, but things that sound familiar to all of us as we think about our journeys. As we think about alignment that Jenna spoke about earlier, we know the water here is not always calm. We know it's not always smooth sailing. There's been an underinvestment in learning and development, with only 4% of the total budget spent on learning at AstraZeneca. AstraZeneca used Josh Bersin's high-impact learning organization benchmark tool as they went through this journey, and that 4% spent didn't stack up that well against the 11% expected at that level. There were so many learning technologies and frameworks that were fragmented, they were inconsistent, there was a lot of duplication. And there was a loss of focus and strategy on the skills that actually really mattered, because we didn't kind of know what they were. There was a limited understanding of that across the organization. And it's really hard to strategically demand plan against things that you're not sure about or things that you don't know. AstraZeneca are also looking for more data, like all of us are. More data on skills, more data on organizational performance, more measures of success, and more business-focused outcomes. So as we think about mindset and the tools here, we all know, sitting in this room, that transformation doesn't come easy. But AstraZeneca built and executed a learning technology strategy which saw them reduce their legacy systems by 60%. That's a 60, not a 16, 60%. Savings for the organization, as I mentioned, sitting around 17%. They drove an increase of 600% in their product offer. But what they also did was think very carefully about the tools, the governance, and the processes that was required in that growth to make sure that there wasn't content chaos and to make sure that there was no duplication across the work that they were doing. They also built and brought a lot of high-quality content into the organization with core focus areas and the skills that the business really actually needed to grow. They had more targeted use of skills and tagging within Degreed for more effective search results and assignments. And AstraZeneca continued to work with key technology partners like Degreed to innovate and drive continuous strategic enhancements to their ways of working. We're getting to the results now, you'll be pleased to know. So the organizational data at AstraZeneca tells us that 89% of employees developed a new skill or capability in 2022. 64% of that organization now use Degreed as their home base for learning. I mentioned it earlier, but the cultural change that saw 1.2 million people, or 1.2 million completions, off their own back, self-motivated, I think that really talks to the mindset shift that they've driven and that they continue to drive. They also have some really targeted, functionally driven, business-specific academies that they've stood up, 23 of them to be exact. And they're really focused those on the future skills of the business. 61% of that organization actually rate their skills, and that's 31% higher than the benchmark across that industry. And finally, AstraZeneca are classed now as a high-performing learning organization. They moved from level 1 on the Bersin scale, which is pre-transformational, to level 3 on the Bersin scale, which is post-transformational, and they're a learning organization. And we know it doesn't stop there. You never achieve that, and you stick there, but we keep with their continuous growth. We are super proud to partner with world-leading organizations like AstraZeneca as they literally push the boundaries of science. So, I know you've been waiting for this. Carla, Nick, Sarah, could you stand up, please? I know you all have hated that, Nick, so thank you. And Sarah, I did nearly let you off because Sarah did give me an English tea bag this morning, and that meant the world. Thank you guys very much.
Congratulations. Those are awesome, amazing stories. How about another round of applause for those clients?
And another round of applause.
Yes.
No, I'm just kidding.
but what's really interesting about these stories that they're not satisfied just with reaching the outcomes that they spoke about. They are really focused on pushing the envelope, continually pushing the envelope. So we're looking forward to seeing greater success from them and others. And success is possible. Achieving these outcomes is possible. And what we want to remind you of, keep focused on those drivers for success because they are critical in order to achieve the business outcomes that you're after. And we also want to hear from you, though, in terms of what are we're going to have two questions for you. First is please share with us some of the learning initiatives that you are focused on in 2023, and how are you planning to use Degreed to fuel these initiatives? So we'll give you just a minute to answer those two questions.
I don't think so many people have ever been asked to take their phones out during a presentation.
I know.
I see a lot of skills up there so far.
The word skills is just getting bigger and bigger.
More time with
Jenna. Somebody
you
better say more time with Chrissy and Eduardo now.
I'm there.
I don't see my name, you guys.
Somebody put Chrissy.
Yay! Eduardo, you need your name on there now.
Yeah. No, these are great. Of course, skills still at the top, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
One of the most prominent ones. Engagement is another one. Because I think going back to that whole notion of mindset shift, when we ask people to do something different, we have to be thoughtful about the mindset that we're trying to drive, and that'll result in greater engagement. I don't know if you see anything that you want to call out, Chrissy or Jenna?
I think it's really interesting to see in their culture, and I'm really pleased to see it in there. Career mobility also, and I'll be really keen to talk more about how career mobility maps to skills, but we don't have time. So I'll just keep moving. Teacher learner, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Redoing onboarding, I've heard that quite a lot, over the last couple of days with people that I've been speaking to. It's definitely been a topic, but skills has been the top for me in my conversations, for sure.
Yeah.
So now let's look at the other question. What are some of the results on how are you planning to use Degreed to fuel these initiatives? So you should be able to answer that now.
I'm not yet, well, you should.
I love to see opportunities in there.
Skill mapping data,
Yep.
data insights,
I love
analytics,
that.
many of the things that we talked about throughout the last day and a half.
Awesome.
With
Chrissy's
Chrissy's
help.
help.
Thank you. Jenna, you're on there as well?
Oh,
It's great to see all that coming through, though, because
Yeah.
the thing that you see here is it's really rich, the things that you guys are trying to do. You're not trying to do the easy things. You're trying to do the hard jobs. And it's really reassuring to see that, a collective maturity is sort of heading in that direction. Awesome.
Well, thank you for sharing all of that. These are great initiatives, and also it's great to see how you are going to leverage, or you plan to leverage, Degreed. What we like to share with you, though, is that in these journeys, or as you're trying to execute these initiatives, you are not alone. You have a whole integrated client team that's here to support you and provide the assistance and the support that you need in order to achieve the success that you're driving. Starting from the sales team, they are deeply committed to understanding your business so that they can bring forward ideas, insights, and the appropriate resources so you can execute your initiatives.
Client success, you'll see across the bottom there, no surprise to hear me talking about that one. Client success and your client success partners will continue to work with you or start to work with you, depending on where you are in the journey, to really help you to optimize the investment that you've made in Degreed. So we're talking about breadth, we're talking about depth, we're talking about realizing outcomes and business objectives. see over on the left-hand there, or at least for me, it's probably anyway, technical support. So we have a great collection of technical support consultants within our organization. We call them TCON, Technical Consultancy too. And they work with you to really understand the technical outcomes that you're looking to drive and how we can help you to join up landscapes and also deal with the day-to-day points as you work with us at Degreed.
And last but certainly not least, professional services. We're here to roll up our sleeves and work side by side with you to help to consult or to do the work in a way that's meaningful and will drive the results that you're after. So again, keep in mind that you have a whole team that's here to help and support you. But that's not all, is it, Jenna?
That is not all. No, no, no. So I'm so excited to announce that we are relaunching our client community called Degreed Visionaries. As you can see today, we're all going through a similar journey, right? Hearing Booz Allen's story, hearing AstraZeneca's story, and then seeing the results of the poll, we have those similar challenges and opportunities ahead of us, which is why Degreed Visionaries is so important. Eduardo, if you pull up the QR code, surprise, surprise,
Get out your
you'll be
phone
able
again.
to register for our brand new relaunched client community right here, right now. This is where you can connect with other customers, you'll be able to earn points, and win prizes like those Degreed socks that I know all of you are obsessed with. So with that, you can think of that as our parting gift to you, and we just want to say thank you. We don't achieve success without learning from each other, and we're so incredibly grateful and excited for the partnership that we are going to continue with our clients and community this year. So thank you.